Hello everyone and welcome to our ninth session on ethics, integrity and aptitude series. Alright, let's start our session with a quick recap. We saw this question giving example of some social ill plaguing the society, discuss how social persuasion can be an effective technique to overcome them. We saw a detailed discussion on it. Alright, then we started a new unit which is unit 3 on aptitude and the foundational values for civil services. We started our lecture with the orientation from a quote which was by Albert Einstein, right? Then we saw the definition of aptitude and we related it with other terms like ability, skill, knowledge, right? We related it with talents, skills, ability, desire, knowledge, right? Then we understood the life cycle of skill development or aptitude realization, which is you have an aptitude, you develop it to ability, then you hone it by practice and practicing basically for a lot of years you develop it into a skilled, you become a skilled person. Okay, then we saw difference between attitude and aptitude. This is important, and we saw that which is important, your attitude. Aptitude is important because you cannot teach somebody something which they don't have an aptitude for. We also understood this crucial fact. Okay, so in the end attitude matters. If you are coachable, then only somebody will coach you, right? And if you don't have an aptitude of bowling, you cannot become a fast bowler or a good bowler, right? Then we saw the aptitudes which are for civil services, basically the holistic competencies. Okay, we saw ethos, ethics, equity, efficiency. Ethos is nothing but your philosophical aptitude, your character of yourself and the organization. Ethics is the moral aptitude, which values you follow. Equity is social aptitude. How much do you think about the people and how much you are focused on their well-being and goodness. Okay, like good governance. Are you focused on this or you just focus on your good career? Alright, then efficiency finally, which is work aptitude, that is how much efficient are you as a worker or as an employee of an organization. Okay, as a person, how much efficient are you in delivering the task which was assigned to you? How much resource utilization is there with you? How much resourceful are you? How much disciplined, motivated are you? Because this impacts the overall culture wherever you are working. Because as you know, civil servants, the exam which you are giving, the people who are selected, they are given leadership position early in their careers. So it is very important that you should be a person of a strong character and strong efficiency, so that you can motivate people around you and lead them by example. Okay, just sharing an anecdote with you. In the training academy, okay, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, over there are many activities, like there are numerous activities, and people, when they go to Bharat Darshan, there is a team leader appointed. Okay, so many a times there is a team leader. Okay, so many a times people who are appointed as team leader, they are mostly those who basically they're selected also, but mostly they are, those posts goes to people who are or who have not been practicing that much or not intermingling with the group that much. Okay, so that they become used to handling responsibilities. There are many people who are a little shy, let's say. Okay, they are a bit introvert also, so those people tend to shy away a little bit. Okay, so those people are given an opportunity during Bharat Darshan. They are given responsibilities in order to overcome that shyness and become a holistic, okay, civil servant. All right, so let's come to the question. Okay, again our focus will be on keyword. Let's just read it out once. Ethos, ethics, equity and efficiency are the key criteria. This is a keyword okay, based on which the competency of civil servant should be judged. So competency is another keyword, and judged. Okay, analyze. Basically give examples by proving your point. Okay, so this is a 150 word answer. We'll just, okay, so two or three things I would like to discuss before we move on to the answer. That, see, we need to write more than reading. Okay, after a level you should not be reading more stuff, you should be writing it. That is why we are having answer writing session before every lecture. Okay, so basically why? Because in the main examination you need to cater to the demand of the question, and the more you write in these sessions, we'll have around let's say 28 to some 33 sessions. Okay, it will range between 30 or 32, it can go to 33 also, or it can be finished at 30 also, depending on the schedule. Okay, or let's say the time allotted to lectures. Anyways, so you have to cater to the demand of the question. So when you write more, you understand what to write. Okay, slowly you will do that. And since I am discussing it regularly, if we have 3 lectures in a week, I am discussing 3 questions per week, because this is a sort of a different pattern of teaching ethics. Mostly people focus on teaching during the lectures, and then they have test series. But here I am trying to make you write, trying to force you to write, because mains is 70% answer writing. The exam itself, the studying is obviously there, but in the exam when you go, it's 70% writing, 30% is content. What I mean is, you have to use the content and write efficiently. Okay, or you can say the whole preparation of mains is like this. Okay, and the answer itself, it is 50% content, 50% content, and 50% is presentation. 50% presentation means we are going to use a different presentation pattern today, and the content also matters. Okay, so it's a mix of all these. So the whole preparation for main examination is 70% writing. That is, you have to write a lot of essays, you have to write a lot of GS papers. Okay, at an average 2 paper for each, GS1 to GS4, and in the section in which you are weak, you write more answers for that. Then for optional, then for essay. Okay, so there are 2 papers in optional, so at least 2 paper for each, and 1 full length paper for both, so 6 papers. Essay, I think you should write 5 to 15. Okay, so how much it is? Okay, so these are 4 papers each. Okay, so 4, 8, 14, and depending on what you do, ranging, so in the end it becomes 25 to 35 around. Okay, so you should be writing this much paper. Okay, and if you write 2 per week, it will take you 12 weeks to 14 weeks to finish it off. Okay, so you have to plan it in this way. Anyways, so whole preparation for mains is 70% writing, 30% reading. Okay, prelims is opposite, it's 95% writing, sorry, reading, and 5% practice. Okay, because you don't have to write in it, right? So writing practice is almost 0 in it. So 95% it's reading. Okay, alright, so we have to write to cater to the demand, be demand driven, don't be supply driven. This is a major mistake in main examination, that people write what they know and not what is asked. So please remember that. Okay, now this question is important because this is directly related to what we read in the last lecture. So I hope when we are finished with this answer, you will understand how to summarize the discussion in the way it is asked. Okay, so I hope these all background things are clear, and let's move on to the question itself. So first, obviously we will follow the structure of IBC, introduction, body and conclusion. In introduction we will define it. Define what? We will define competency, because that is being judged of the civil servant. Okay, then in the body we will divide it into 4 parts and discuss each each competency. We'll tell what competency actually means and the example of it, and in the conclusion we'll just say that yes, these as explained above, these are the criteria based on which competency should be judged. Okay, as simple as that. So let's begin. Okay, let's come to the definition itself. If we see, the competency simply means, simply in simplest words, that you need to do something, or you should be able to do something. Okay, you should be able to do the job assigned to you. Right? Now, if we write the hard definition, okay, the technical definition, it will be that these are, you can write it down. Okay, competency, okay, competency is underlying characteristic of a person, such as skill, value, traits, okay, work ethics, and so on. Okay, these help, these characteristics help a person to perform their task. Okay, so 2 lines till now, that competency is the underlying characteristic of a person, such as skill, values, traits, work ethics, and so on, and these defining characteristics help a person perform their task. Now for a civil servant, this is the 3rd line. For a civil servant, holistic competency, which is our keyword, are required to fulfill not only their management role, okay, or managerial role, but also the socio-economic responsibility. See, introduction is quite crucial, and we can introduce introduction in other papers with facts or definitions, but here most probably facts won't fit until unless it's a question on women, wherein you can quote some fact related to women, or child labor. If the question is on child labor, you can start with some fact on child labor, but here, since we have to depend on definition, we will start with definition, and in the last line of the introduction, try to give the hint of the body. Okay, so that I told you, right, in the previous lecture, that in introduction you give the hint that you have understood the question. That's it. Okay, so the last line was, civil servants, holistic competency is required to fulfill their not only their managerial job or managerial responsibility, but socio-economic responsibility. Okay, so this is the introduction. You define and give importance, because if you read the question carefully, it is asking that only. Okay, that holistic competency of these 4 aptitudes is the criteria based on which they should be judged. So obviously that is why it will help not only in managerial roles, but in social and in delivering the social economic responsibilities. Okay, now we come to the body and divide it into 4 parts. We will write it in a structured way. Okay, this you can write like this only, like ethos. Let's start with ethos only. This is the philosophical competency of a civil servant. Now we have read a lot of parts under ethos, ethics, equity, and efficiency. You don't need to remember all of them, just 2 or 3 are fine. Okay, now what you can do is, you can write here, this includes, and then you can draw a diagram like this. Let's say people first includes, okay, you can write here that values of people first. Okay, strategic thinking, organizational awareness. Okay, so this is how you can write. Similarly for okay, now example. Now how do you prove it? Okay, you say that second ARC, you can write for, okay, just a second, let me, since I have told you already how to write in a structure, now you write the ethos part. Okay, just a second. So for example, now you write second ARC holds that philosophical competency, please write this down, philosophical competency is intrinsic to the citizen centric governance. Okay, citizen centric governance, this is a keyword, citizen centric. So second ARC holds that the philosophical competency is intrinsic to the citizen centric governance. That's it. By saying this you prove your point, because this is all, these are just concepts. In ethics it is very important that you balance it and related it examples. That is why we have taken so much examples in our sessions. Okay, so this is, I know we haven't discussed it in the last lecture, but this is the what I can say, the benefit of answer writing. When you think about it and you see that this was not taught in the lecture, then you will come to know that, then you will remember this also. You will be able to relate it with more if you have previously thought about some example. So this is how we can explain every part: ethos, ethics, equity and efficiency. Don't worry, I'll discuss it. So ethos, you write the definition, okay, that this is the philosophical competency. Okay, this includes values of people's first, strategy thinking, organization, awareness. Then you say that, for example, you prove your point. That's it. I mean, by taking the example you prove your point. Next we come to ethics. Here you tell that this is the moral competency. And comprises, just take some different word, don't write include every time. Comprises of, do you remember anything? Transparency, okay, integrity, accountability. With this, and then you can insert one line that these values, if they are present in the civil servant, they will make these civil servant more accountable to people. Okay, and civil servant will also hold other people accountable. Just one line using one value. Now example can be Satyendra Nath Dubey. He tried holding a lot of people responsible or accountable for the corruption that was happening in the highway project. Okay, and he paid dearly with his life, but he was trying to hold people accountable. He was transparent in his dealing. You can write this in the explanation part, that Satyendra Nath Dubey was transparent in his dealing. He was trying to hold people accountable for the corruption that was going on in the highway project. Okay, what about equity? This is the social competence, right? Social competency. Okay, this includes what? Empathy, consensus building, what else? Understanding others. Here also you can write a statement that if a civil servant is empathetic towards the people's problem, they will try to solve it even by out of the box solutions. For example, Armstrong Pame. Okay, Armstrong Pame, the miracle man, okay, who built 100-kilometer road solely with the help of out of the box ideas. Okay, so this is how you can write this. Okay, so basically what we are doing is we are telling what is ethics. Okay, then we are telling how it helps the civil servant in one line, then we give an example and we move on. That's it. See, because please remember, in UPSC examinations you have to cover a lot of area. You don't have to go into depth. Even in answers and even while studying, try to cover a lot of areas. Now we come to efficiency. Efficiency simply means the work efficiency, the work ethics of a person or work competency. All right. Okay. Now what will this mean? Can you think of anything? Innovation, teamwork, result orientation. Here you can say that if a civil servant is result oriented and knows how to work well in a team, that will lead to better outcomes of government initiatives. Okay. For example, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is totally now result oriented. Okay. And some people are succeeding. Why? You might have observed that there is a ranking of cities, right? Some cities are very good. Why? Because maybe the bureaucrats over there are result oriented. They are good at teamwork. They are innovating, like the Nagpur IAS officer. Okay, how he cleaned the basically from the garbage, municipal garbage. He had out of the box thinking, right? This example can also be given over here. Okay, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and Nagpur example can be given over here by telling that such solutions came out because, or such results were achieved because innovation, teamwork was involved. Okay, so this is how we explain this. Define and exemplify. जैसे ABCDE आता है ना, D के बाद E वैसे ही, ठीक है. सो डिफाइन एंड एग्जाम्प्लीफाई, दैट्स इट, एंड मूव ऑन. ओके, सो ऐसे ध्यान रखो. प्लीज ट्राई टू बी एज वाइड एज पॉसिबल. ट्राई टू टच लॉट ऑफ बेसिस in a UPSC answer. Okay, now finally in conclusion, you simply write that these values, you can write some values like responsibility, accountability, okay, citizen centric government. Okay, these are only possible if the competency or if the holistic competency is there in the civil servant. So yes, such criteria can be the base of judging civil servants. All right, now question can come like this also, although I asked it this way, but it can be asked in an indirect way also, like discuss the competencies that should be the basis of what? Should be the basis of judging the competency of civil servants. Okay, or discuss the competencies that should be in a civil servant. That's it, simple. So it can be a very broad area, so you can, by dividing it in a structure, you can write it beautifully. That is the presentation part. Okay, so I hope now you understand the content and presentation relation. Okay, this is the presentation. This will be one paragraph. This will be one paragraph. Okay, this will be one paragraph. Okay, I missed a slide. Anyways, okay, so I hope you have understood this. This is a diagram which you can see. Okay, or small notes. Okay, you can make notes like this so that it is easier to remember. So in this session we are going to start with the values, like I said in the last session. Okay, we are going to start first with the objectivity. Sorry. Okay, objectivity, integrity, and lastly we will see dedication to public service. Okay, let's start. Okay, so we come to the part of foundational values for civil services. You can see this chart, or basically cloud, wherein there are a lot of values written. Okay, accountability, equality, honesty, trust, consistency, commitment, and so on. We'll see all the important ones. Okay, starting with objectivity. Okay, whom to listen to. Okay, facts or emotions. So basically objectivity means that you focus on facts, that you judge something purely based on facts. That is why in the court the lady justice is blind, because she will not consider anything except the facts. She will only listen to facts, that's all. Okay, So basically it's the ability to judge fairly without biases and external influences. These are the keywords in the definition. Please pay attention to them. Okay. So judging fairly, something judging fairly without biases and external influences, that is based on facts. Okay. So it is not your opinion. It is something based on factual truth. Alright. So you are not taking some decision, you are not judging something based on emotions. You are judging something based on facts, to only facts. Not emotions, only facts. Okay. Alright. So one of the example, practical thing that happens in the governance system, that before any major decision, a committee is set up. You might have heard about many committees which are set up, right? Like TSR Subramanian Committee on Education, okay, Committee on Western Ghats. Why? Because they will include many people, okay, not just one person. Sometimes there is a one person committee also, but still he or she is not working alone. Anyways, for big tasks, there are few people involved, at least 2 to 3 people involved, who will have different viewpoints, and at least few of them will be focusing on facts, and at the end result, factual thing will come out rather than some biased report. Okay. Let's try and understand with two examples. First one, Max Weber. A question also came on him. Okay. So see, Max Weber said that the bureaucracy, the bureaucrats have a rational legal authority. Rational and legal authority. What does this mean? That the leadership or the authority, okay, by the bureaucracy as an organization is tied to its legal rationality. I'll tell you, I'll explain you. Basically, what you need to understand, that Max Weber said that legal rational bureaucracy derives its legality from rational legality or its legitimacy. Okay. This means that the legitimacy of bureaucracy in India or anywhere is tied to legal and rational behavior. Okay, legal means they follow rules, rational means they follow reason, which is what we just talked about, which is objectivity, that you are not following your emotions, you are following laws and you are following reason. These are based in facts, right? So you need to understand that it is legal because rules or laws are followed, and rational because reason is followed, which is same for everybody and hence objective. So civil services is legitimate because it is objective in behavior. Okay. So this is an important thing, because objectivity is judging fairly without biases, right? So Max Weber said this only, that since they are without bias, they are objective, that is why they are legitimate. Okay. Next example, let's see, when a civil servant gives some advice to political leader or basically the minister. You must have, okay, focus on the top of the slide. You must have heard about this, that the permanent bureaucracy advises fairly to the political bureaucracy, okay, or the impermanent bureaucracy. So an objective civil servant or objective public servant provides advice, okay, based on evidence. We'll see an example, okay, based on an evidence, and basically presents the facts rather than opinions. Okay, he or she will present to the minister some facts which he or she has gathered from research, and then decision is taken based on that. Okay, and this is also another keyword here, merit of the case. Decision is taken on basis of merit of the case. We are going to see examples, don't worry. One example here which can be understood is, let's say there is a project going on, okay, and it has to pass through certain areas of the city. Now if you advise, you are the bureaucrat and you advise to the minister that it should go like this because this is the most densely populated area and hence more people will be served, but the minister wants the route to go through his or her constituency, so the minister might do this, okay, or some whatever, okay. So the point is, this is how things are changing from okay, it is not changing, but how this is based on fact and this is based on emotions. What would be the final decision? That depends on the situation itself, but this is how you take a factual decision and this is how people take emotional decisions, okay. So you have to focus on facts, reason, okay. All right, so let's see why in what situation it is the most crucial. When you select or recruit somebody, okay, when there is a posting or transfer to be done or promotion to be done, these are all examples, all right, real life examples. So you can remember any of these, okay. It's not necessary that you remember all of them, but like I said earlier that in lectures we read this much, then after lecture we remember this much, and in exam we write this much. So try to remember as much as you can. Whatever example you can relate to yourself to, please remember that. So selection, recruitment, posting, transfer and promotions, okay. Selecting right agency for contract and tendering, right, merit of the case like I talked about, okay. Selecting the lowest bidder, right, and so on, okay. Being not favoring anybody, not favoring local contractors if they are not working properly, okay, not favoring blacklist people and so on. Selection for Bharat Ratna, Padma awards, okay, these are all done objectively, right, without bias, okay. Daily administrative work, because if let's say there are two schemes to be implemented, okay, and they have to, again they are to be done in one area and another area, but let's say this second area is far from the district headquarters, so you might have to travel long way to inspect it daily, okay, but objectivity says you need to focus on both equally. Just a simple example, very simple thing, okay. We don't need to complicate much, complicate things much. So simple examples, okay. Whatever you can understand, please try to relate with it, okay. Now what is the role of objectivity, okay. See, it brings legality into your thinking and reasoning, okay. We just read that Weber said what? Legality and rational legality, okay. So the bureaucracy should be following rules and should be following reason, so that they bring legality into whatever scheme they are implementing or whatever law they are implementing, okay. What will this ensure? It will ensure equality before law, before law, please excuse the short form, and it will also ensure equal protection of law, sorry, equal protection of law, okay. So this is how you can relate with GS2, okay. So based on proper facts and proper rules, bureaucracy will implement things so that legality is ensured, okay. I hope you understand this. This is very important, this is the base, okay. All right, so now next, it helps in controlling emotions and prejudice. Why? Because as humans we tend to be emotional. Now you must be thinking, obviously not all the time we can do this. Yes, I'll come to that point also. So emotion and prejudice need to be controlled, because as humans we tend to form our prejudices, we tend to be emotional, we tend to form our prejudices, okay. Like while buying a TV or any appliance, you might be fond of a brand, okay. Let's say you like the Samsung brand, but the same thing you are getting in cheaper price in Whirlpool, so you will be biased towards Samsung, right, although your mind says that you should go for Whirlpool, like this only. What to follow? Which one to follow, brain or the heart? Okay, brain obviously. So we need to understand till now brain, but we will understand the role of heart also later on. Okay, impartiality and non-partisanship. We'll read about this later on in detail. It's also a value. Impartiality basically means that you treat everyone who comes to you equally. There, you do not treat people based on their castes, class, religion, etc., or economical status, whatever it is. Non-partisan, basically you are politically neutral. Whatever scheme you are implementing, you will implement it for the people and not for the political party. Okay. Equality in treatment. I think this is understandable. If you are objective toward the people you are serving, you will serve them equally. Okay. Because all people are equal. So objectivity helps in forming equality. Like here we discussed equality before law and all. Okay. So this is the almost same thing. But this is why I have written it separately, because this will lead to upward social mobility. This is important because there are a lot of downtrodden people in India, or people, you know, SC, STs, okay, who have suffered a lot and they need upward mobility. Okay, how we can do that? If we implement the things in an equal fashion. Okay, we give people what they deserve, not what we want to give them. Please understand that, not what we want to give them, but what they deserve, so that they can rise in the social strata of our society. All right. Okay, next point is social competency of equity. This is we read about this, right? This is one of the 4 holistic competencies. So you see, all these values are interrelated. Objectivity is related to impartiality and non-partisanship. It is related to tolerance, which is the last point here. It is related to another competency. Okay. Now, social competency of equity. Here we can take an example of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, wherein during the on 26 January, I mean, he said that on 26 January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradiction, because he said that from 1950 in politics we would have equality, but in social life we will have inequality. Okay, because in politics one man one vote would be recognized, universal adult franchisee, but in the social life and the economic life, still people will be in a structure, living in a structure wherein some people have more value and some people have low value. Okay, or let's say more or less. Okay, so he said this. Okay, so this is very pertinent over here, because if you keep this in mind, then you will understand the pain of people and you will try to focus on equity. Okay. Tolerant means you understand people. Okay, you have empathy, you have compassion towards them. Because okay, let us try and understand this with an example. Let's say you from childhood you have learned to, or basically you were told that some religions are bad or some religions are good. Okay, so you become biased towards a religion, and let's say during your tenure as a civil servant, a person from that religion comes to you for help. Okay, now if you are not tolerant toward them, okay, now basis of tolerance is objectivity, right? So role of objectivity we are studying, right? So when you are not objective, you will not be tolerant, you will not listen to that person properly, even though the person's let's say demand would be legitimate, still you will not listen properly. Okay, another example of tolerance can be an old villager is coming to you for help, but due to some or the other issue, his documents went bad. Okay, anyways, we'll take this example later on. Okay, I'll connect that to another thing. Okay, for now I hope you have understood this. What is the role of objectivity? Okay, let's move on. How to inculcate objectivity? Okay, by critical thinking, by teaching people how to, basically basis of anything is training. That is why 2 to 3 years long training goes on for civil servants. Okay, critical thinking. For example, I am going to explain you this with example like Archaeological Society of India just began gold hunting in UP on order of Union Minister. Okay, so this showed a lack of critical thinking, that they didn't analyze that thing, or they didn't analyze the order on their own. They were not objective towards it. They were biased. Okay, so you need to develop critical thinking. Right to review decisions. That is, if some you take some decision, it can be or it should be reviewed. Okay, let's say you have in administrative procedure, there should be a mechanism for appellate board, that is in taxation, land acquisition, etc., so that decisions can be reviewed, so that objectivity can be maintained if while decision making some biasness creeped in. Okay, so if you can review your decisions, you can later on make them more objective. Right to be heard. Like I've previously told you that officers sometimes don't hear the complaint of people properly because they are biased, right? And just do things that are in their mind, which is again biasness, not following reason, following emotion. Hence, some new schemes should have social audit or public hearing components so that people can also be heard. Because like I told you, when committee is formed, many people come in and tell their thoughts. So objectivity is maintained. Similarly, the schemes, if social audit is made an integral component, people will be able to tell their issues and they will be able to make scheme more objective for those people, and it will ensure local solutions rather than one size fit all solutions, which is a criticism also, okay, for our overall bureaucracy, that one size fit all approach is there. So so for some state it works, for some states it doesn't work. Information management. Okay, if you don't have proper statistics, you can't take objective decision. It's as simple as that. If you can't measure a thing, you cannot take objective decision. If you can measure, you can be objective. Okay, like SDG has 17 goals and 169 targets. In MDG also there were indicators. Okay, but there was no database. So lack of data prevents from finding the faults and fixing them. Okay, because if you fix, you will be objective, right? Transparency. RTI, bureaucrat will think twice, thrice before taking subjective, biased decision, because the person would have to answer to someone if someone files an RTI, and this has happened a lot. Okay, but this has negatively also led to paralysis in decision making. Okay, but that is governance part, not our part. Now, how do you maintain objectivity in complex situation, or even objectivity in complex situation required? Okay, this is a discussion because basically now we are focusing on a little bit of criticism of objectivity. See, this line is important, that it is a necessary but not the sufficient condition. Okay, necessary but not the enough. It's not enough, because, and not enough for what? For let's say complex situations, performance in complex situation. Okay, see, objectivity is necessary but not the sufficient condition because of the nature of the work performed by civil servants. Okay, civil servants deal with a lot of different strata of society, right? First of all, we have a very high diversity in our socio-economic and cultural ethos, right? So when they have to deal with such people, such different people, okay, in one day, okay, or in the span of their career, and they have a lot of discretion also, because sometimes law leaves the action upon the civil servant. Okay, so they have a lot of discretion. They have responsibility of public funds and safety of public safety, public life, and so on. So when they are dealing with such a complex situation, is objectivity necessary? We'll study that. Okay, so they are leaders, right? So when they have such, also yes, of course, they are leaders. They are put in leadership position, right? So in the end, they have to be what? They have to be sound. Okay, they should have good values, they should be emotionally intelligent, they should be emotionally aware, they should be empathetic, sympathetic. Okay, such values you need to insert in ethical ethics answers. Okay, so basically it's a necessary condition but not sufficient, because first of all the nature of the work is such diverse. So what happens, see, when we expect objectivity, it is more of a clerical expectation. Clerical means some people who are not in leadership position, they are or they can be more objective, because when you are in a leadership position, obviously there will be some amount of emotion or some amount of bias, and that bias might be a positive bias, like reservation is a positive discrimination. So same thing can happen. Okay, let's say the perfect example is during a disaster, whom do you save first? The vulnerable, obviously, right? The vulnerable one, pregnant people, old people who are not able or who might not be able to save themselves, right? So when such things happen, when people are in such position of leadership, they cannot be totally objective, otherwise they will become machines. Okay, and in the end they have to focus on justice, they have to focus on compassion, empathy. Again, I am repeating these words, but most important point is justice. They have to focus on fairness. Now what is fairness? We'll come to that. Okay, so it's a necessary but not the sufficient condition of during the work of a civil servant, because of the nature. It's more of a clerical expectation. Okay, when you are in such a leadership position and you deal with such diverse people with diverse needs, you cannot be purely objective. Okay, you have to be emotionally intelligent towards people, you have to be a little sympathetic towards their needs. Okay, you have to focus on justice. Okay, but please remember, but it should be under the or in the confines of law. You have to be lawful, you have to be rational. Okay, example can be let's say two people, a person, like I was talking about that example before which I stopped, that a person comes to you and he has come from let's say traveling the whole day, and due to some issue, actually this happened in NRC, sorry, yeah, this is a real life example. Okay, a person came with documents, okay, to register himself, but due to rain, heavy rain, the documents got sullied. Okay, and the identity could not be established. So what is the path, what is the way out? Okay, purely objective way out will be, no, I cannot help you. Why? Because, think about it, because if I'm being totally objective, you have not bought your documents. But if you are being fair, if you want to give justice, you will try to help the person re-establish the identity or get the documents made again. That's how we differentiate between pure objectivity and fairness and justice. Okay, so you don't have to be objective every time. Okay, listen to your conscience also and be fair. So enlightened objectivity is called fairness. That means you are putting a little bit of emotions, you are going beyond basically emotionless objectivity and caring about people. Okay, now it is one example I would like to give you before we end this value, that in our legal system the punishment is sometimes you might have seen it is written like 5 to 10 years or 5 to 15 years. Why? Because there are many times people who are first time offenders and there are many people who are career criminals. So people who are first time offenders, they might be given the minimum punishment, or the judge might even not give any punishment. So that is what, that is discretion. But some person who is a career criminal, the judge might give him the or her the maximum punishment, right? So the judge was fair, judge gave justice, judge was not objective. If judge was objective, the judge might have given him the first time offender also 10 years. But that, depending on the case, I am not saying this would be every time applicable, but also depends on the socio-economic condition of the person. Okay, so sometimes do remember, objectivity clashes with other values. Okay. Okay, if you are not able to relate, the point is it will go against justice, fairness, empathy, compassion. Okay, because I took two examples, right? NRC example and judge example. So conclusion is objectivity sometimes clashes with other values. Okay, so objectivity is not always possible and not always desirable also, because another example can be civil servants, they have to act according to the law of the country, which is constitution. Okay, which itself is not objective. Constitution itself, let us write this down. Maybe just clicked it, just clicked me. Constitution itself is not purely objective. Okay, it is supporting women. Okay, SC, ST also, right? Positive discrimination. So pure objectivity can be a bit robotic. Okay, so please remember the conclusion that sometime it will come into conflict, but you have to rise above it and focus on enlightened objectivity, which is fairness. Okay, let me take another example. Pure management is objectivity, and let's say leadership is creativity, but that creativity will lead to fairness. Okay, all right. So let's relate with GS2. Okay, objective, total objective can be fundamental rights, let's say. Okay, and basically fairness can be related with DPSP. Okay, so fairness wants to achieve equality. I'm just telling you some lines, equality but in unequal circumstances. These are all you can use in let's say what your conclusion. Okay, so focus on fairness. Okay, all right. Now let's come to integrity, one of the most important values. Okay, we will study this in detail. We will study a lot of angles of it. Okay, all right, let's start. So the orientation, okay, the thought with which I want you to start this topic is integrity is choosing your thoughts and action based on values, okay, rather than your personal gain. Okay, this is a simple definition also. Okay, that focuses on values rather than personal gain. This can be a definition. Now before starting the actual lecture on this, I will be sharing with you a lot of different definitions so that you have a perspective. Okay, that what it is and where it applies. It not just applies to outside world, basically not it applies to your inside world also, that is on your mind also. Okay, now this is a famous quotation. This is by he was a famous Nigerian writer. Okay, he said that one of the truest tests of integrity is blunt refusal to be compromised. That is when you are being offered a bribe, or you basically have more change, okay, than you deserve, you return it to the shopkeeper and you do not also accept the bribe. So refusal to be compromised. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Okay, I think you understand this. What you say is what you when you say something and you do that, that is integrity. Okay, to have integrity means you hold yourself to a high standard of doing the things you say regardless of circumstances or feeling. This is another way of saying that you focus on values. Okay, another way of saying. So whatever definition suits you, you can remember. It's my job to give you multiple perspectives. So perspective here, what I'm giving you is that you do the right thing regardless of how you feel. Okay, now the definition. Okay, combining all of these, integrity means following your moral or ethical convictions and doing the right thing in all circumstances, even if no one is watching you. Okay, now the second part of integrity, or another definition can be, you are true to yourself and would do nothing that demeans or dishonors you. This you can link with here, with refusal of compromising yourself. Okay, Alright, so in personal context, we'll be studying the personal context first. So let us introduce this integrity. Okay, in personal context, it means that your speech and action are in line. Okay, alright, so I think you understand now that doing the right thing when no one is watching, as simple as that. Okay, or eliminating the gap between what you think, what you say, and what you do. When all of these three are in congruence, it is said that you are a person of high integrity. For example, Gandhiji, he recalled the non-cooperation movement on Chori Chora incident. Okay, although many people would have said to him that it is okay, it's fine, you don't need to recall the whole movement, but no, he stuck to his integrity. Okay, another example can be the 2611 case, the terrorist attack, and the Nirbhaya case. Okay, okay, the lesson here is of integrity that we followed rule of law, even though we knew the people who were accused were guilty, but still we followed rule of law. We gave them every possible avenue of defending themselves. Everybody was given a lawyer. Okay, so we followed rule of law and ensured our democracy was safe. Okay, so we think that we are democratic, we said that we are democratic, and what we did was also democratic. We followed rule of law. Okay, so this is one good example. Okay, another example is of Pradeep Kashni. Okay, he was transferred 67 times in his career. Okay, he was an IS officer. Okay, so he stuck to his honesty and integrity, but was transferred because of it. So there is cost to everything. Okay, who are hypocrite people? We have seen this before. If we relate it to integrity, hypocrite people are who have no integrity. My speed is a little bit much because we have to cover this quickly, otherwise lesson will stretch unnecessarily. Okay, so I hope you have understood, and this example can be given. Okay, this is a bit different example. All right, so examples of integrity. Okay, in personal sphere, in professional sphere, how integrity comes out. Okay, sorry, yeah. Okay, so what is the first one? Basically being dependable and following on your commitments. This shows that you are a person of high integrity. You are open and honest. Okay, you don't lie. All right, so you hold yourself accountable also. You own up to your mistakes or shortcomings. What this shows that you are a person of high integrity and self-confidence. Okay, in life, like I've told you just that, if you are given extra change, you give it back. That is, you are honest person. We'll see the relation between integrity and honesty and probity, okay, later on. If you follow the company rules and policies, you are an employee of high integrity. Okay, you use materials for your own work and not for personal use. That is, official stationery is used for official purposes only. Official vehicle is used for official purposes only and not for your personal use, not for dropping your kids. Okay. Now let's see first the integrity in personal sphere. Alright, so I have given you the definition already, that it is the coherence between different parts, that what you think, what you say, and what you do, when they are incongruent, integrity is high. Okay, so integrity is coherence between different parts, that is action and thought. So people who have high integrity, they are strong, they can face challenges, okay, and they do not get affected by external circumstances a lot. Okay, like I said, hypocrite people are people with no integrity. Now we have types of integrity. Okay, one of the type is intellectual integrity and another type is moral integrity. Okay, intellectual integrity is having integrity towards every idea other than the moral idea. Okay, so other than the moral idea, if you because moral ideas are dealt in moral integrity, so any other idea, if you are intellectual integrity means any other idea. You are consistent towards every other idea other than moral ideas, because if you are consistent with moral ideas, you are morally integrity, your moral integrity is high. Okay, so again, intellectual integrity is having high consistency towards every other idea other than the morals. Okay, now intellectual integrity does not mean that you are adamant. Okay, that means it's not like you are holding on or you are consistent all the time to the level that you become stubborn. No, basically you are humble. Okay, that doesn't, okay, being humble doesn't mean that your integrity has fallen. It means that you will follow what you think by being humble and kind to people. Okay, you accept it openly that yes, I do not take bribe, I will accept transfers, I will not take bribe. That is intellectual integrity. Moral means that you have consistency in the moral standards that you apply on yourself and the standards you apply to other people. That, let's say, if somebody is throwing garbage openly, okay, before telling that person not to do it, are you sure that you also don't do it? There is a story wherein a mother takes her son to a Guruji or Baba, okay, and tells that Baba, please ask him or guide him to leave the smoking habit. Okay, so the Baba or the priest says to the mother, please come next week. Okay, she comes again next week. He tells her the same thing. After 3-4 weeks, he tells the kid, please stop smoking. You know why? Why he did that? Because the Baba was a smoker himself. Okay, so this is how you give an example of moral integrity. Okay, if we want to take other standard examples, we will take one example of Keshav Chandra Sen. Sorry. Okay, he was against child marriage, but he married his own daughter when she was a child. So basically he practiced child marriage, and due to which his followers left him also. Okay, you must have read about it. Modern history. Sorry for that. Gandhiji and Chauri Chaura I just explained. Pradeep Kasning I just explained. Okay, so basically integrity is value of values. Okay, it is the highest value. Other values come from it. Okay, integrity is basically being honest. If you say you are honest all the time. You are not honest when it is convenient. You are honest all the time. You are honest when it is even difficult. Okay, this is why, since it's value of values, it is non-negotiable, that you have to follow it. It means you have to follow it. You don't have a choice. It is non-selective. It applies to all situations. Much more examples are there, like Ashok Khemka, Satyendra Nath Dubey. Yes, one important example is the Rupa D, IPS officer. Okay, because she exposed the VIP treatment given to Sasikala in jail. Okay, and she publicly said that public stood by me and not my colleagues. Okay, that's just the repercussion side, but I'm telling how she was of high integrity and she maintained her integrity, honesty, commitment to service by exposing this. Although she did, we'll study about whistleblowing also. She did follow these steps, but when they were not working, she became a whistleblower. We have seen examples of integrity. What are the example of non-integrity? Doping. Okay, also Ranjit Sinha, okay, CBI director. He favored some political party. Let's not take the name. We have to be politically neutral. Okay. All right. So such things are there. All right. Let's move on. Integrity in philosophical sphere. See, integrity in philosophy is a means-based approach. That means it's the path. It's not the end. Integrity is not the end. Okay, it's the means to achieve something. Okay, integrity basically it does not mean that you perform action without some passion. Okay, it's not dispassionate action. Basically it means that you do not care about loss or victory. sorry, you just care about walking on the right path. That is why it's a means based approach. Okay, so basically use of moral in your mental reasoning leads to integrity. You can have this as a flow chart for yourself. Okay, so nishkam karma means you do your work without the expectation of the fruit. Integrity is means based approach, it is not the ends based approach. Okay, all right, so we can obviously any topic is incomplete without example, so we take example of corruption over here. So if from the angle of philosophy, if we see why corruption happens, because person is morally impure, the person has lost moral reasoning. Basically integrity is lost. Obviously integrity is lost, but how it means, how can you understand it? By the person is morally impure, the moral reasoning is gone. Okay, now we will see integrity in social context. Till now we have seen it in philosophical and personal in the sense how you behave, but in social context you have to interact. Obviously we live in a society, so we have to consider it in societal context also. Basically in societal context, integrity means a person, okay, who is willingly and consistently act in accordance with the social rules, okay, and rules, societal rules are the values prevailing in the society, okay, and the standards, basically ethics. Okay, so the person consistently does their action according to these standards. Okay, now again corruption, if we understand, more than one person is involved in it. Okay, so corruption is seen in public sphere or in the social sphere. Okay, in real life it is seen. If you are personally corrupt, then you are a person of no integrity. If you are internally corrupt. Okay, one thing related to this is professional integrity. That is, you act according to organization standards and you do it consistently again and again. Okay, all right, okay, let's move ahead. In civil services, obviously we have to study about it. Okay, so integrity in civil services, what it means. Second ARC has given a beautiful paragraph on it, that civil servants should be guided by public interest and not personal interest. Okay, I have written it in a simpler language. The paragraph has a little typical language. See, a civil servant should be responsible towards his duties. Okay, first thing, the person should make optimal utilization of public money. Second thing, the person should be open with information as much as legally possible, like RTI, and deal fairly with public and uphold the law. Okay, this is not exactly what it is written, but I have written it in a simpler language, so you can remember this. You can make a small basically diagram like this, like beautiful, okay, or you can write legally spending public money. Okay, transparency for openness, that is RTI. Okay, then we have a value of impartiality. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is how you can draw a diagram in exam if a question comes on integrity in civil services, or if question comes on integrity. Okay, now what is the relation between integrity, efficiency and corruption? So obviously people think that a little bit corruption is okay. if it gets the work done. But the counter argument which I would like to give you is that efficiency, if we first deal with efficiency and corruption, okay, let's try and understand by pairs. First we will take, okay, here it is written, just a second, good governance. Here it can, efficiency is a part of good governance only. So I can write good governance here also, good governance. Okay, so what is the relation between these three? So first we will take efficiency and corruption. So efficiency includes a lot of values. Okay, you are good with you are good with the money. Okay, you are being transparent, you are being fair by allocating and distributing the funds. So basically efficiency includes being fair with respect to the government goals. Okay, that the people who are deserving should get it. Okay, this is efficiency. Okay, basically the maximum input to output ratio. Now corruption is additive in nature. Okay, once you start doing it, you'll like doing it, and if you keep getting away with it, that is you do not get caught, you'll start doing it more and more. It has domino effect. That is, once you do it, your image will be created such, okay, and people will start offering you more bribe and you will get addicted again. It is circular. sorry. So efficiency and corruption cannot be present together in a system. If a person is corrupt, they cannot be efficient. Alright, it just does not happen, because some of the money will go somewhere, right? So optimal utilization of funds is not there. Okay, next we come to integrity and efficiency. Now integrity, sorry, here is a spelling mistake. Integrity is a necessary value but not the sufficient value for efficiency. Okay, so if this is efficiency, integrity lies here. Okay, this is a Venn diagram. Okay, so efficiency needs a lot of other things, like knowledge, positive attitude, willingness to work hard. Okay, so such a mixture is there. Okay, so the conclusion is only integrity will not lead to efficiency, other things are needed. Now let us come to corruption and integrity. Okay, so basically we have read that when there is no moral integrity, corruption happens. So if there is no integrity, only then corruption will happen. So if corruption is present, integrity is not present, as simple as that. Now why is integrity lost? This is important. Why is integrity lost by some people? Because the society, just a second, the society is nowadays moving towards materialism, hedonism, okay, seeking pleasure all the time, consumerism. So all this needs money and people want it quickly, so they go for shortcuts to earn this. Okay, shortcut will obviously be demanding. Okay, what will it demand? Some or the other compromise in integrity, some or the other. So obviously now since integrity is gone, it leads to corruption. Also, absence of emotional intelligence leads to loss of integrity. This is another factor. How? Like let's say you cannot handle your emotions well, so you get lured. Okay, you get enticed by free money. Okay, basically nothing is free, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, all right. Also, India is in a transition, as you know. Okay, you must have read it in GS1. If you have not, let me explain it to you a little bit. That India is transitioning. Okay, it is developing. Okay, and a lot of changes are happening. So due to which we have developed a little bit of neutral attitude, or basically confused attitude towards corruption. Okay, because of which we are not able to take proper decisions. Sometimes corruption is okay, sometimes corruption is not okay. If it is basically multi-million, multi-crore, it is not okay, but we ourselves do all this. Okay, when it is our own work, we obviously support corruption. Okay, so this is why integrity falls, because integrity needs clear purpose. Integrity needs clear sense of purpose. Okay, then only you will follow something, right? If you believe in something properly, then only you will be able to follow it. And integrity means following something in all circumstances. Okay, this is a quote which you can use. Gandhiji said that integrity is integral to a healthy society. Healthy society leads to healthy government, and healthy government leads to healthy nation. Okay, so this is important. Okay, all right, let's compare. So in terms of broadness, probity is the broadest, its value of values, as I told you, then come honesty, then comes integrity. Okay, sorry, I said it in the opposite way. The integrity is the value of values, okay, under which comes honesty, under that comes probity. Now probity is lack of corruption, that means financial propriety. Okay, you are being proper financially. Okay, honesty is that you are truthful. Okay, you are doing your duty truthfully. Example, Sharapova doping episode. Okay, she was dishonest, that she was not dutifully she was not doing her duty. Okay, honestly. Integrity, now if you are a person of integrity, you will not do the duties because your conscience, you will not do some duties because your conscience doesn't agree with them. We said, right, that you will not compromise. Example, a policeman is asked to fire on a unarmed peaceful protesters, but the honest policeman will obey the order. Okay, clearly, please understand this clearly. Honest policeman will obey the order, policeman of integrity will refuse to fire. This is a good example. Okay, it also tells you practically. Now there is another quote, if our police forces are to retain the public trust, they need better men and women to instill a sense of moral integrity. Okay, because in moral integrity you uphold yourself to the standard, also the standard which you apply on others. Okay, so if police expects you to behave properly, we also expect that police should behave properly. All right, let's move ahead. Integrity test, this is just an example how you can assess work ethics of an employee. Self control, okay, do I put my ethics and values into practice? Okay, this is the integrity only. Conscientiousness, okay, how you handle temptations, can you say no to them, can you say no to corruption? Okay, ethics and values are obviously cornerstone. Okay, honesty, sincerity, values are needed. Is the person dependable, loyalty and commitment to the organization and to the other employees? Is the person supportive, a team player? So this is an example of organizational integrity test. Okay, this is just for your knowledge, just to tell you that how practically things are done in an organization. Okay, all right, last topic for today, how to inculcate integrity. Again, training is imperative, it is an important part of inculcating anything in anyone. Okay, first you can do that structures, you can create laws, rules and regulation, that is carrot and sticks approach, that if you are honest you will get carrots, if you are not honest you will get sticks. You set up code of ethics for all department of governments. Okay, it should include that they have to follow what they have to follow, and the report will be given and evaluated by the head of department. This is a second ARC recommendation, important hai, please note this. For example, in parliament, speaker will note down that how many times the disruption was caused, okay, and a committee will monitor it. It will note down the reasons, and the report will be published for the public. There will be no penal punishment. It is just to create some pressure, more, or you can say moral suasion. Integrity testing, basically ad hoc tests. Okay, random, you select an officer, you test them by offering them bribe, okay, or you test by giving them honey pot. Okay, this is a technique in basically social hacking. Okay, wherein let's say an attractive female person approaches a male person. Okay, that female person is basically from the enemy side. Okay, all right. So integrity testing can be done. Okay, this is not same as the CBI raid, but only they want to flush out the corrupt people. Okay, CBI raid can be done once in a while to flush out big people, but for random testing, normal inspection can be done. TSR Subramaniam's book is there. He also said that regular inspections are quite effective. Just normal inspections also. You don't need to punish anybody. Just go and inspect. Okay, he discovered some village, some school because of this also during a routine inspection. The school was not working well and he took some steps. Anyways, so yeah, last thing, training obviously. So if young recruits first posting is made under an honest officer, most likely that person will become honest because of good role model. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Let's summarize quickly. We first saw the question. Okay, then we saw objectivity, what it is. Okay, how it is important, what is its role, how to inculcate it in people. Okay, how it is actually in real life, how it matters. Okay, then we saw integrity. We saw various definitions, various perspectives, so that you understand what it really means. It basically means that in all circumstances you adhere to your moral principles. Okay, another definition. Okay, so integrity, practical examples I gave you. Okay, what it means in personal sphere, how a person of high integrity will act, how integrity comes from philosophy. Okay, in social context, how it presents itself. In civil services, what does it mean? What is the relation between integrity, efficiency and corruption? Okay, we dealt in pairs and we saw that corruption will not stay with when there is integrity. Efficiency, only integrity is not sufficient for efficiency, and corruption will not sit well with integrity and efficiency both. Okay, then we compared with other values of honesty and probity. Probity is just being honest financially, honesty basically in every sphere, integrity is basically including everything. Okay, it's the values of values. Okay, integrity test, then how to inculcate integrity. Okay, in the next class we will see other values like dedication to civil services, impartiality, non-partisanship, okay, empathy. I think there will be 2 more lectures on this. Okay, so whatever values we are left, we are going to study it. We'll study empathy, compassion, sympathy. We'll study dedication to public service. Okay, impartiality, non-partisanship. All right. So objectivity and integrity are 2 big values. So they took a bit of time. Okay. All right. Oops. This is the last part. Last time's question. This time there is no question. Okay, take a break. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something today. All right, if there is any doubt, please let us know. If there is anything we can improve, please let us know. Thank you for listening. All right, chaliye, we'll meet you next time. Bye bye, take care.